And of course, you are listening to the voice of Stockton, and it's no longer KXVS, it is now TVOSJ. TVOSJ, yes, the voice of San Joaquin. And now we have St. Mary's. Oh, I want to make sure that this is on, because if it's not, then it's not going to record. Here we go. So we're good to go. Okay. And now St. Mary's Sports. Welcome, guys. Welcome. How are you?
Hey, good evening, and welcome back to Rams Hockey, 28th of February.
Last day of the month.
Last day. You know
That's
what?
right.
In the car business, it's an important day.
Yeah, this is the hockey show. Take it easy, big fella. Anyhow, welcome everybody that's listening, and thank you for listening. Tonight we have Roy Morales, which you've already heard from, a fellow employee of ours here at Chase Chevrolet. And we have the wonderful Mr. Zack Lytle back from his Valentine's Day off with his girlfriend. Why don't you give her a little shout out to her so she knows that you're here thinking of her?
She knows that already, and she's not listening. So
And what's her name?
Beth.
Wait a minute, Beth's got to listen to the show. We got to lay the law down here.
Beth, you might find out a lot listening to this show. Anyhow, tonight we're going to cover the game against Bellarmine last week. We're going to be going into the playoffs next week in the Anaheim Duck League. We'll talk a little bit about football, believe it or not, towards the end of the show. So here we go. Roy, what do you got for us tonight?
Tonight, you know what I was thinking about was
There's a problem.
no, what I was thinking about was the significance of the coach and player relationships. And I know Zach's been, he's been coaching, youth through like 20-year-olds for some time now. And I wanted to ask him a little bit about, some of the coaching, some of the players that you've had that played for you that are now, older now, and just give us a little bit of input on, how coaching has affected you, especially with the youth, and how the players have maybe responded to you, playing under you as well. That could be a dynamite question.
This is a G-rated show.
Tell me about that.
It's a very enriching experience. I don't know. That question's all over the place as far as an answer for it. The thing that sticks out in my mind was one kid in particular. And I met him as a squirt, so he was 9 years old, and he played for me for a couple of years. Then he went and tried to play high school football, and then he came back to hockey when he was 15, I think. Very good player, and he went and played college and all that. And then I ran into him and his dad years later, and he walks in and he's covered in tattoos, and
Wow.
and I'm like, you're too young to have a tattoo. What are you, like 15 or 16 years old or something?
Really?
And he's like, I'm 25.
Wow.
So like time just escapes you after a while. Like you lose track of it. And now with Facebook and social media, you see these kids that, the last time you saw them were 10 or 11 years ago, or
Right.
when they were little, and they're getting married and they're having babies. And so I guess it makes you feel old, really.
Yeah.
I feel old.
Yeah, you get to feel old. Yeah, and it does probably let you know that you've been in the game for a while.
I know, Zach, by watching you this year and the years previous, how you go out there and you get these kids developed.
I'm a hard guy.
Yeah, you are, but you want the best out of them. And we can talk a little bit about that, because I think in today's society, I call it a soft society from when I grew up, which
Right.
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
The coaching was done very similar as you and Coach Derek. Some kids respond very well to that. What do you think is the makeup difference from a kid that just shies away from? In other words, you guys are out there. It's a violent sport. Let's just start back and layer it, because it's not an easy sport. It's not. It's a contact sport such as football. They're on the ice. They get knocked down. It's hard, And if they don't know what they're doing out there and they progress in their hockey endeavors, it gets faster, quicker, and the hits are harder. So talk to us. I know how you are because I'm there every day, but a lot of people don't see this every day. Talk to us about how you and why you try to get these kids to understand what's going on out there.
Well, I mean, it's a great game, and you want to see it played well. And to play it well, you have to play it the correct way. And, if you go back in time 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, whatever it may be, teams were put together because this group of kids were all similarly skilled in their development. They were all kind of the same, so they fit together as a team. Mm-hmm. And then somewhere over the years, it shifted, and teams were put together because, little Johnny's got to play with Billy because they're friends and neighbors and carpool together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Billy's no good, so he's going to hurt the team. Right. He's going to make the team weaker or softer or worse. Mm-hmm. And he's not ready for that level. So everything kind of moves down to accommodate the lesser skilled player. Mm-hmm. And, for me, I would like to see everybody, if you equate anything in sport, or I do anyway, like your own personal work ethic. Mm-hmm. How hard do you want to work at something? As an example, can you go to the gym and can you train by yourself? And can you push yourself hard enough to improve yourself? And if people are honest with that question, most of them can't. And so you push the player to sort of find something inside of them that says, yes, I can do this on my own. I know how to get to this point, and I can take it and move forward. But if they don't have anybody pushing them,
they stay at the same.
They stay the same.
Down,
they stay the same, or they go backwards. And now because teams are this hodgepodge of ability and skill, it's harder now to push those kids that you see have potential to make something out of themselves, because you have to be gentle with little Billy at the other side of the spectrum who's not ready for that stuff.
Right.
And it's becomes very difficult.
And it's got to be frustrating as well. I mean, from your end.
A little bit. Sometimes, I mean, there's no mystery, at least here, about what I'm about.
No.
And so when people are surprised, like, oh, wow, he tore into my kid. No. Well, your kid earned it. Yeah. And so I don't know. I don't understand that mentality of like, don't push my child to be better. I don't get that.
I think also at the level of St. Mary's that you're trying to make these kids, like you say, self-sufficient.
Well, making the right choices. With the St. Mary kids, they set the table themselves by having goals to go play somewhere else.
Correct.
And so I know we've talked about this on the show before. Derek especially knows you want to go play junior, you want to go play college, you want to go play pro. Well, this is the type of mindset that gets you there. Right. And if you don't have it, you better develop it, because if it's missing from what you do, no matter how good a hockey player you are, you're not going to make it. You won't survive.
Right. And I think that's the key is you're pushing these people to become young men. Yes, our team was a lot of freshmen, and so if they're going to stick it out and continue their career, it only gets more difficult. It doesn't get less difficult.
Yeah, well, they call it a pyramid for a reason.
Right.
Very few make it to the top. And so if you take a huge group of kids that all start, like your grandson, 04s. Now you take all these 04s, and they can all skate, and they can all pass and shoot. Can they play with other people? Do they have the ability to take their individual skill and tie it into the game where they're playing with other people? Do they have the work ethic to train and separate themselves from all those kids that can shoot, pass, and do all those other skate, all those on-ice skills? Do they have the work ethic to train past those players?
Right.
And they can't do it by themselves. Like this generation and maybe the previous have proven that that you have to be pushed. There's just not the self-starter in a lot of them that there used to be.
Right. And you know what's interesting? As I've done some research, especially with with the Lions All-Star football game, I've done a lot of research on coaches and players and relationships that have that over the years, and what I found in a lot of cases is the old school football coaches, they were very much very strict, very disciplined. They had their they had the routine and regimen down. And it's rather interesting because when you hear these players that have played for these legendary coaches, whether it be in football, basketball, hockey, whatever, that they really have the utmost respect for those coaches that were hard on them and really pushed them, because it not only made them better players, but it also made them probably even more successful in life. I think there's a lot of life lessons.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's we talk about this almost every day at the rink.
Yeah.
Of for me, I literally can envision, and I'm not talking about St. Mary's kids.
Right.
I'm talking in general.
Right.
But I can envision the way you see parents handle their kids around the rinks, around the Bay Area, Northern California. These kids are never moving out of the house. Never. They're going to stay at home with mom and dad until they can't.
Right.
They're just, it's too easy. Life's
Yeah.
too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there again, like I think Roy just mentioned, you're developing skills, even though it's a sport, to further their being a good human being and a productive human being.
Right.
Well, the guy that runs Bellarmine told me this story. So he's a salesman, right, in a big company, and travels all over the world selling stuff, whatever it is he
Talking
sells.
about Dave guy.
No, not Dave. Dave couldn't sell ice to
Sorry, Dave.
No, Mike. But he said we hired this guy straight out of college, top of his class, and he's not getting it done. And so I got to call him into the office and kind of give it to him a little bit about how you're not performing to our expectation. And he quit. He couldn't handle the criticism, and he quit because that's how he had grown up. Adversity, no, I don't want anything to do with that.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. I quit. I give
Take
up.
my ball and go home.
Yeah, I give up.
Yeah.
So that seems to be a lot of the common mentality. And for me, I hate seeing that in kids when they give up and quit, but you got to push to see where their line is. And sometimes if you push too far and they quit, maybe it wasn't the sport for you.
Right. And everybody's different. But when you get into a competitive sport, or any sport, I guess, but especially a competitive sport, and you want to do well and succeed and move on in your life in that, you have to understand constructive criticism. We work for a guy that played high school football and college football a little bit, and some of the best stories he ever tells are about the coaches that beat the hell out of him. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally. I mean, if those coaches were around today, it wouldn't have been good for them in today's society, because those coaches would have brought up on assaulting kids. But they learned from it, and they pushed themselves through that, because unlike most of these kids that, like you just said, like that one gentleman, he quit. But the idea is not to quit, to prove the coach wrong. That yes, I am that guy, and I can get there.
Right.
And I'm gonna prove you wrong. You can call me out.
Yep.
But I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna improve, and I'm gonna look at you
And
say,
to
here I am.
to relate it to the St. Mary's team, you take a kid who's teetering on the verge of maybe quitting because he's lacking confidence, he's not feeling good about his game or himself out there, and you challenge him. Like, I know you're better than this. Like, why don't you do it? Get out there and go prove it to us. You know, and you say more than that, obviously, but you light the fire under him and challenge him. It's sink or swim time, man. Quit teetering. You're either doing it or you're not. And it's like when you're little and they throw you at the deep end of the pool and you learn how to swim.
Yeah, I'll tell a quick story that happened, I believe it was Monday at practice. A couple of kids didn't go to weight training, and anyhow, they were in the locker room instead of being out, and yada, yada, yada. So Coach Eisler just put it to them, and I thought it was fantastic. He said, listen, guys, if this is too hard for you guys, let me know. Let me know if this is too hard. The ice time, you're getting 5 days a week ice, you're getting 3 or 4 days of weight training. If this is too much for you, let me know. Because there's leagues that we can put you in that you don't have to, you can just go out. If you play good, fine. If you don't play good, that's fine too. But that's not what this program is about. He says, so Rick, Zack, and I won't be involved in that, but we can get you in the league and everybody will be happy. Or do you want to put the effort in the work performance and the practice to make yourselves better? He challenged them. And I thought that was good. And the reception from the players, from at least from my perspective, is they got it. He also has let them go out prior to practice because some kids get there earlier and so on and so forth. And he told them before, if you're working on part of your game out there, and whatever you're doing, stick handling or accelerating and speed and these types of things, that's what I want you to do. Take that. I'm giving you the ice time. No coaches out there. You do your thing. And then it started like that. Then you got two guys clowning around doing this. So he took them all off the ice. He said, that's over with. We're not going to do that. You're going to stay on the bench till 3:30. When we come out, we're going to allow you to go on the ice when we tell you to. And you're going to practice until you guys figure out what you need to do. And he went around the whole team. Can't remember what he told what. Each player, he said, if I were you, Roy, I'd be working on this. Zack, if I were you, I'd be working on this. Rick, if I were you, I'd be working on this. And he just let it go. And then the kids, one by one, came up to him and says, can I get on the ice early because I want to practice the A. And now they're all out there. They were out there today, all working on certain parts of their games that they want to get better at that they feel that they're not.
I think that goes more to structure. Like if you left it to them and their device, they know screw around.
Right.
Like go on the ice, it's screw around time until the coach blows the whistle and we start.
Right.
They're not used to being responsible for their own game.
Right.
And so now they've been given the responsibilities to be, you want to get better at this, then go get better at it. You don't need me to sit there and watch you do that. You can go do that yourself.
Right.
But you can't go out there and just shoot pucks. That's just a waste of time.
And can't they learn some of that? I mean, you always hear, in all the different sports, you always hear about, this guy's a good clubhouse guy. This guy's got leadership skills. Some of that they can learn probably from their peers too. I mean, if you have a peer out there that has been told what to do, and it might be an older one. It could even be a younger one that has taken the message to task, and they see the other peer, putting in the effort, putting in the work, doing what they should do, and hopefully, that works to motivate.
Yeah, I mean that's
all the players.
That's what you would hope to have all the time. I think with our group this year, I think we get in trouble.
It's okay. This is the kind of radio show.
Well, the only time I'm going to say anything is the 4 people that listen to the show are going to be the ones that are irritated by it. But
we're up to 4 now. Thanks.
But in my opinion, and it's not a knock on the kids, they just don't know any better.
Yeah.
But we haven't had the kind of leadership within the group to grab somebody and shake them and say, listen, we got to get this thing going the right direction. Our leadership has been more like, well, I hope it kind of works out. They've been a little bit tentative, but they don't know. Like they don't know how to do that.
Right.
They have to learn it, and it's a hard thing to learn.
Right.
And they've gotten better as the season has gone on.
Yeah.
But, you would hope, like your grandson as an example, you would hope that next year, he's that guy that jumps on the ice and through his work ethic, and just demonstrating, how to be a pro.
Right.
That the new players that come in are be like, I want to be like that guy.
And I think next year, even you're talking about him, but a lot of the players that are coming back have been through this now.
Right.
They've traveled by themselves with the coaches.
Yeah.
It's a whole learning process
Right.
for these kids because none of them have ever played at this level of hockey or been. They're young adults. I mean, they're still only 14, 15, 16, 17, or a couple 17s and an 18-year-old.
Right.
So they had to learn this.
Yeah, they've had a lot. a lot of responsibility thrown on every one of them. It's not easy. I mean, they're all coming from a 3 times a week sort of situation where it's a little bit of hockey and then a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you mix it all together and figure out, I like this more. Maybe I don't want to do hockey anymore. Or these kids, it's all hockey all the time.
Right.
And it's like you said in the beginning. Maybe it's too much for some of them. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But at least next year, the kids that come in that are new to it will have an example to follow.
Correct.
And we'll have those days where it's just like, man, this is a lot. And the kids that have been there will be like, yeah, it is, but it's just, you'll get used to it.
Yeah,
you get the routine.
And also we always talk on the scholastics, but I was telling a mother that brought her son from Vacaville to skate with us on Wednesday morning. I said the biggest thing that your son's going to have to do is his time management. We've talked about this relentlessly, but that's what it is, because, and I've said this before, when I went to high school, we had the same classes. First period was first period, second period was second, all the way through. You had lunch on fourth or fifth period, and you came back and you had 2 more classes and you went home. This school is different. It's more of a college type thing, at least from my perspective. They do 3 classes on Monday, then they do their other 3 classes on Tuesday, and then go back to Monday's classes on Wednesday. So they get homework on Monday, but they don't have to turn it into Wednesday.
Right.
So that becomes a procrastination point. Well, I got a day to get this done, or I don't have to do it tonight. And then we got practice. I mean, they're going from 6 in the morning till 5 or 6 at night every day, whether it be weight in the morning and practice in the afternoon, or practice in the morning and weight in the afternoon. But they're going all that time. Well, the next day they got homework from those other 3 classes, and it's just, you can't play catch up. You've got to be ahead of the game. And we talked about this, the 2 coaches and myself, that maybe next year, when we have a practice in the morning and we don't do weight, because I think we're doing weight about 3 or 4 days, will be 3, something like that. One of the days that we don't have an afternoon ice practice, that we'll have a study hall for the boys to go to. So it's a controlled environment, and a teacher there, a proctor, or whatever, to help them if they need assistance. And I think that'll really solidify the Scholastic in that, hey, this is your time. You got an hour and a half dedicated to do homework. No phones, none of the outside distractions. You're in this place, and if you need help, we have somebody there that may not know it 100%, but they'll be able to get you on to the next step. And I think that'll be a big improvement for us next year. I know, Zack, they're talking to you about becoming their dry land off ice.
That's the whispers.
Slight rumor.
We
Anyhow.
like rumors.
But anyhow, and I think you taking over that, if that comes to fruition, that it's going to be a plus for our team, because now you have somebody there. St. Mary's had a great coach, and he retired earlier this year, and then a gentleman's fit in, tried to do as best he can, but he's also has other things going on. So the kids got a disconnect there between the one coach and this guy does a great job with them. But I think they need to have somebody that's going to hold them accountable. In other words, I don't feel like going to weights today. But
yeah, well, we don't feel like making a phone call for you either.
About games now, let's move on to the game against
you know what's cool is we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoff beard. You go into the playoffs on a 1-game winning streak.
You lost your razor.
I did. Timely. I lost it timely.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so 1-game winning streak going into the playoffs.
I like it. And talk about that game, Zack, because Zack is one of those guys. I'll just tell you how it is. That's how I am.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. My thought was.
Go ahead and compliment me more.
He's a good-looking guy, ladies. The guys that can't get this HD TV.
Here we go.
Anyhow, but he goes through each game. We sit and talk, and he'll tell me his opinion of the game and who did what and what could have done better, and so on and so forth. However, this last game I was unable to go, so they played at 8:15.
8:15, yeah.
And we were back on the ice that next morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he walked in, and I go, how did they do? Now,
Well, let's back up to the last time we played Bellarmine.
Okay, let's back up.
When we played at the arena here in
Right.
Stockton.
Okay.
Remember that one? We won 6-2.
Right.
Yeah.
And they scored the first 2 goals on the first 2 shots.
Yes,
No
right?
kidding.
Oh,
First
yeah.
2 shots.
Yeah, you
I
were
didn't
supposed to be there,
realize
but you no-showed us,
Yeah,
Roy.
well,
Anyhow, that's another
And
story.
so
I'll pay for
I
that.
think Bellarmine would agree that that game was the thinnest lineup that they could put on the ice.
Well, they were
had,
very short.
Yeah, they had a lot of kids missing. They didn't have everybody come. And so for them to lose that game, they probably knew that going in. And being up 2-0, even early in the game, we looked at it like, nah, it's just a matter of time. It's just, you could
Right.
tell. So now we go to this next game, which was in San Jose at 8:15
Their home rink.
on Thursday. So we didn't practice Thursday. Or we did a 30-minute walkthrough.
Yeah.
And so because you couldn't drive, I had to drive all the way up from San Jose
Sometimes
to
I
get
just
a van.
lucky. Sometimes I just get lucky.
to drive down to San Jose. I had to come all the way to Stockton, get a van, put players in it, go back to San Jose, just to turn around and drive back to Stockton. Great night. Anyway.
Did anybody ever tell
Anyway.
you your eyes are blue? They're beautiful.
Anyway, that game was probably the best lineup that San Jose or Bellarmine could
They
have
had
put
all the
together.
people.
They were missing maybe 1, maybe 2, but they had their best players there.
Yeah.
And we had 10 guys. And you look at it and you think, wow, 10, they're going to get tired. It's going to get sloppy. Never happened. Like, it was the best game, I think, that they've played, minus the Jay Serra game earlier in the year. Like, they were detailed. They were making plays. They were moving the puck. And they would make plays where in the past you'd see it and you'd think, I hope he makes that play. And they didn't. And then in this game, you're like, oh, I hope he sees that. And he did. And they make the play. And then they connect on a pass. They put it on net. I mean, it was every detail that Reed talked about during the week, they did. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. And every player played above where they had played before. Like Clayton all the way through SAR, everybody played better than they had. And, I talked to Derek after, and to me, the best play of the entire game didn't even result in a goal. It was Clayton coming through the neutral zone, has the puck, and it's 2-on-2 maybe. Yeah, it's 2-on-2, and he mohawked, so he threw his rear end out to protect the puck, shielded it, fooled the kid on the other team, so he beat him, clears out space, turns it into a 2-on-1, and then makes a bullet pass over to SAR, who usually would just fumble it and roll off his stick. Well, he catches it and fires it on net, and their goalie made a great save. But it was just an amazing hockey play.
Really?
And it was like that all the way through. And then after the game, like they worked hard and they were tired, but they never played tired the whole game because they never chased it. They were always in control of what was happening on the ice in front of them.
Makes a big difference. I mean,
Oh, it's
when you're
huge.
chasing the whole night, you're playing
Huge
you know,
difference.
you're not
And they were
controlling the
loose,
puck.
like they
Yeah.
were loose. So, like Clayton's an interesting kid. For
Yes,
being
he
a very big human being, he's fragile at times, and you have to kind of be careful how you talk to him because his feelings are right
Right.
on the surface.
Right.
And
Right.
so, I can't help myself. I like to have fun with that, and I told him Thursday at practice. I said, Clayton, you had a great week of practice. It's been a great week of practice for you all week long. And he's looked at me and he's like, oh, okay, I guess. I don't know. Did I? I said, yeah, he did. And then we got down to the game, and they're all lined up.
Listen to this very carefully.
They're
because
all
this is
lined up
classic.
to walk out of the locker room behind Sean, the goalie. So Sean's the first one, and Clayton's right behind him. And I can't help myself. I look at Clayton, and I go, Clayton, even if I yell at you on the bench tonight, I just want you to know you had a great week of practice. And he looks like, why would you say that to me now? Right? That's the look on his face. And Sean, who's a thick-headed kid, he sees where I'm going. Like,
Yeah.
he starts chuckling.
Yeah.
And I go, Sean, you feel that? You feel that on your shoulder? That's the big man's lip. His lip's starting to bang your shoulder, getting the lip going. And then Clayton, like, oh, I see. And then he starts laughing about it. And he was loose, and he played loose, and like it was great. It was really good. And then after, like this week he came up and he asked me, he says, what was it I did that I had such a good week of practice? And I'm like, yeah, well, he thought about it, but he's a thinker, right? He thinks about that stuff instead of just going and doing.
Right.
He likes to think about it and analyze it.
Yeah.
And I just explained to him, it's your body language, you know, like you were engaged, you were moving, you were talking, you were like, you just seemed like you were having fun, you know. And then when your body language is, you know, slumping your shoulder and got your head down, like then it seems like you're not having fun, and that's when you don't have great practice. But last week and this week, he's been really good.
And we're not picking on Clayton, but
A little bit.
Zack is. I'm not. I want to make that perfectly clear. But we've talked about him being the biggest kid on the ice for the most part.
He killed a kid.
That's what I was getting to. I was setting you up for that.
I forgot about that.
I was going to set you up for that.
And honestly,
go ahead.
In my opinion, it was a penalty. I mean, the kid was vulnerable, had his head down. I don't even think he had the puck. And you could hear, I'm assuming it was Clayton's elbow and that kid's helmet, and it sounded like when you take a bat and you hit it up against a brick wall. Like it was loud, just like smack. And it was, I didn't think the kid survived. And then afterwards, because people love to throw stones, he comes up and he goes, there's the one. And I go, what are you talking, the one what? He goes, there's the one hit you've been waiting for all year.
Because we talked about him not
on the show
his checks and so forth.
Yeah, so I told him, I said, I'm waiting for him to throw one hit, and there it was.
But that goes to show you, this is a kid that doesn't, he does talk, but doesn't talk a lot.
Right.
Like Zack said, he's a thinker. But for him to start coming out of his shell and being able to talk to a guy that gets on him when he's not doing well, or the coaches perceive he's not doing well, he thinks about it, it bothers him, but now he's got it to where, hey, they're trying to help me. And now I got to go tell them, hey, listen, I just did what you asked me to do. I flattened that kid out there, you know. So
I did not ask him to flatten anybody. Let's be clear.
Let's
Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, well, we don't want you to get any pet. No, you didn't ask me to do that.
I didn't ask him to hit anybody. I just asked him. I just expect a player of that size to be more physical, and then he was physical in that game.
He doesn't want to get any fines for nobody.
Never asked him to hit.
He did not ask him. I retract that statement. But we asked him. He's been asked to be a little more physical,
right?
And so he did that night. But he did not ask him. Let's get that out there. Did not ask him.
No, did not.
No, that's not Zack. Okay,
but it's nice to see. Like I wasn't worried. I'm not worried about any of these kids, but I was. It's nice to see that we didn't go an entire season, and he's still in his shell.
Right.
Like he's come out of his shell and he'll talk with you. Yeah, like we were talking today on the ice before practice about things involving the games, and it was good give and take. And before, I didn't know if we'd ever get to that point.
Right.
But we did, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job out there, Clayton.
Hey, are the kids, so tell me, this is their first playoffs, right, together, right?
Well, it's the first year, Roy.
Tell me first thing.
First
thing, tell me, are the kids excited?
I don't know if they're excited. It's hard to say. I equate it to my ex-wife. She
There's a good story.
Well, she used to.
This show's going downhill.
It's not. But when she would travel, like when I first met her, she was going to Europe a lot, and so she never seemed excited about it. I'm like, well, if you're not excited, why would you go if you're not excited?
Right.
And she goes, the day of, I'll get excited.
Right.
And so to me, that's kind of like what this is. Like the kids will, like once we're on the bus and we're heading, or the vans, and we're heading down to Anaheim, I'm sure as we get closer, they'll start realizing, like, all right, this is going to be fun. You know, it's playoff time.
Yeah.
So right now it's just preparation.
Yeah. Because it's got to, you know, and you know, like you say, it's probably when they get to that point they'll understand, but it's got to mean something. You know, for you to get, you know, to be in the playoffs, you know, it's just got to mean something to the players. And it's got to all come together when they, when they get on the ice, that this is a special deal for them to be involved with, and they want to play their best. And
yeah, well, I think they all appreciate that. I think one of the, like, I've known Derek a long time, and one of the things I've noticed this year is he's got a real gift pre-game to capture the moment, like what's going on,
right?
And so in a game in the middle of the year, it's not, he'll talk about what's important at that moment, right? And so now that we're at the end and it's playoff time, I'm sure that a lot of the talk will be about, this is an opportunity,
right?
And we didn't come down here to play one game. We're here to win the whole thing.
Right.
And who cares where we finish? That doesn't mean anything. It's like we're starting all over. So I'm sure it'll all ramp up as we get.
In this playoff, is it if you lose one, you're
done.
One and done.
Single elimination. And so the team we're playing, we split. We won one and lost one.
Right.
So who knows?
You don't know, right? And
as I told you earlier, I'm packing one set of clothes.
yeah, that's it.
I'm packing 1 day's worth of clothes, and if I have to wear it 5 days in a row, then so be it.
And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you get to day 5 wearing those clothes, stay away from Mr. Lytle, Coach Lytle. But that being said, we talked about that, Coach and I, Derek, and I said, give me an excuse to come down there on Saturday, which would be the championship game if they make it that far.
Right.
There's a lot of ifs there.
Right.
However, he said, we got to win the first one.
Right.
And he's so right. You can't worry about where you could go or what you can do. Jay Sarah is a powerhouse down there. They finished second in the league.
Right.
And the reason they finished second was because we beat them that one game. They didn't get to 2 points, and we did. So they're not going to go easy. They're not going to go away easy. I'm sure their coaching staff's going to tell them this is the team that cost you from winning first place. So they're going to be ramped up. They got great players on that team. There's no question about that. So it's going to be a dogfight. Our kids are up for it. I know they are.
Yeah.
We just got to go out and perform and do what they've been taught the whole season.
Right.
And I think we'll be fine. Whether they win or lose, nobody knows that until it's over with.
Right.
But they won't go out because of lack of effort. I don't believe.
No, I don't think that'll be the issue at all. I think the issue is just going to be one team is going to dictate how the game is played and go from there.
Right. So that's going to be some fun times ahead for this team. We did have some games scheduled this weekend at home and home against Tahoe. We were going to go up there on Saturday. They were going to come down here on Sunday, but due to weather conditions here, it's supposed to snow. We've both teams just decided not to do it because of safety reasons. The kids traveling back and forth through that snow, and we're really not equipped to be in four-wheel drive. We don't have any vehicles to take them up there, so I think it was a smart move not to do it. There is some talk that maybe later, April or so, if it all works out and we both have free weekends, that it might be weather permitting that we get back together. So those are things that we're headed for. Zach, I don't know what else we can talk about. I mean, as far as
we have the big weekend in Shattuck coming up as well.
That's right.
In March. So I have to see the complete list, but I know that we're going to have some of the recruits are going to make the trip as well. So it's going to be a good experience for them. I know one of the players from the Bantam A team who's moving up to high school. He's not played AAA hockey before, and so it's going to be like a real Sean. It's going to be a real eye opener. Yeah, for sure. And he can't wait. I talked to him, and he's like, "Man, I cannot wait to get out there."
It's going to be fun for those kids and also our kids. I mean, Shattuck's the big name, I guess, in high school arena, so to speak. Just to get a chance to play with those kids at that caliber will be a good learning experience for them. And hopefully some of them will figure out, I got to get a lot better, or, But I think it's good to go see a school like that. It's that school, I don't quote me on this, but I think it's $60,000 to $70,000 a year to play there.
Wow.
So it's not cheap. They get the best of the best. They've had some pros go through there. Sidney Crosby, Kane, Patrick Kane. I don't know. I'm sure there's others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but they're a well-known team, and for them just to get the opportunity to get on the ice with that team is really special, especially for a first-year team. And I think we got to tip our hat to Coach Eisler on that to get that handled. So these kids are going to have they're going to see what hockey's all about. Not that they haven't this year, because in the NAPHL league that you guys play in, there's some great teams in that. We got blown out of a few of those games, not many, but we were in most of them. And the kids never stopped competing, and I think that's a key, that they just didn't go, man, we're done, we're overmatched. They never quit, and I think that's due to the coaching staff and the kids themselves, that they're wanting to do that. So those games, I believe that's on the weekend of the 22nd, 3rd, and 4th of March. And we'll try to keep you updated as we get closer to that. I know Roy came on for one reason.
It's to visit with you guys and talk hockey, right?
He wore that little Lions Club, the Cubs logo hat on. But he's going to talk to you a little bit about the Lions All-Star game. He'll go into a little more detail. Hopefully we won't have to sing a song to get him off the air. But talk a little bit about what's going on, what you brought back here to beautiful Stockton, California.
Well, this year, the 46th annual Lions All-Star football game will be played at A.G. Spanos Football Stadium at Lincoln High School here in Stockton. It's been gone 8 years. It's been on the road, been down south 8 years, ever since UOP closed down. That's where we had all of the games up until 2011. So anyway, the title of the game, we have a game title, and the game title is Homecoming 2019. So we're bringing this game back to Stockton, to its original roots, where it thrived. And so we've got the perfect venue at Lincoln High School, just an amazing stadium
Facility.
And they've rolled out the red carpet for us, to host this game, this very special game called Homecoming 2019. We're getting a lot of community support. We've been advertising this well in advance. People even told me you're too far out in advance, but you know what? This is a big deal. It's a big deal for our community. It's a big deal for Stockton. We're always looking for a good story. This is an absolutely outstanding story, because it's a story about our youth, the youth in our community. The youth in 8 counties actually in the Central Valley are involved, but it's really about our community coming together and enjoying an absolutely outstanding competition of the best senior all-star football players in our area. And we're going to make it real special. We have we're adding a lot of things to the event itself. There you go. And one of the things that we are adding, and we've reached out to the alumni, we are adding, it's being advertised as Alumni Night. And there has been, if you include coaches and players, since 1974, the original game, we're looking at about 3,000 people that have been involved as far as playing in the game or coaching the game. We've had some excellent coaches along the way. So what I encourage you to do, this is all about sports, and this happens to be an outstanding football game. But what I would like for you to do is to, if you're on Facebook, just go to District 4A1 Lions All-Star Football Game. Like that page. We have some excellent alumni coach profiles on those pages, as well as alumni player profiles. And these are all guys that have played in the game. Many of them have played professionally. And the coaches like Coach Zack here, who's coaching the hockey team, the effect that it had on them, in their future endeavors is absolutely amazing and impactful. So anyway, like our page, and that way that'll keep you informed of everything that's going on. So anyway, thank you, Rick, for letting me get a little plug in for the game.
That's not a little plug. You went on and on and on and on. But we love you, Roy. You're my best friend.
See how easy that was?
Anyhow, we are coming up on May 19th for a golf tournament. Keep that in mind. We'll get you more information. Like Roy said, we're a little bit away from that, but we won't hound you with all that stuff. But it's the second fundraiser for this club. We really need a lot of help to keep this thing going. It's growing. the number of people coming to look at this campus, coming out on a Wednesday morning to skate. They've come as far away as Simi Valley, another Bakersfield, Vacaville comes out, and we're getting people from all around coming to get involved with St. Mary's hockey, which is a great thing, not only for St. Mary's, but for Stockton, like you've been talking about, Roy. And it's onward and upward. We don't know where the program will end up. We know where our vision is, what we started, the three of us, Coach Zack, Coach Derek Eisler, and myself. 5-year plan, 2 teams, and hopefully an all-girls team by the end of 5 years. That's our goal, and so we're shooting for that. I don't know when the second team will come about. I don't believe it'll be next year. Possible, but hopefully by the 3rd year we should have obtained enough players to do that. So it's going to be a fun time in the future for us. We got this playoff game coming next week. I think that's going to be big for us. At least the first year to make the playoffs, I think, is big. Program was not known at all, obviously, before the season, and we've gotten a lot of looks from a lot of teams. People are starting to inquire, talking to us at the rinks about what's going on with St. Mary's, and so the kids have been good for the program. The ones that we have, they busted their butt to get to where they're at. They got to continue to do that if they want to move forward, and I think the program's heading in the right direction. No question about it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel, obviously you feel the same.
No, we're going backwards.
You're going backwards. But we're going to meet again on the 14th, I believe, is our next show. It's not Valentine's Day. That was this month. So the 14th, we'll try to get a player or two in here if we can. Talk about where we're going from that point on. But I want to thank Roy and Zack for showing up tonight and being a part of this program. It's special to the Rams hockey and to myself. We want to thank everybody that's on this panel. Their wives let us go, and girlfriends. Beth, thank you for letting Zack go. You probably were happy to let him go, but
She's going out.
she's going out.
It's girls' night out.
That's
for her,
it.
Girls'
she's
night
having
out,
fun.
see?
Good,
There you
good
go.
for you,
Yeah.
Beth. Have
Guys'
fun.
night out here.
Yeah, exactly. We're all going to go home and go to sleep because we got a 6 o'clock practice tomorrow. But anyhow, we want to thank everybody that tuned in. Scott Bryan, I want to shout out to you. Mike Bird, NBC Sports, thank you. And to everybody that listens, we appreciate your input. And I understand from our friend Betty here that's running the board tonight, Miss Betty,
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Betty.
that
You're welcome.
soon we will be able to take live calls on the air.
Whoa.
I don't know
Yes.
when that's going to happen, but it's not too far off. And I think
right.
that'll be a
Yes.
fun time. So if people are listening and have a question, they can call in, and we can answer it live on air. And I think it'll be fun for us because we don't know what we're going to feel. It could be from soup to nuts.
Yes, right, exactly.
So again,
But
I
we
want
can
to.
answer them
It'll
all.
be fun.
What's that?
We can answer them all, though, right?
Yeah, make sure we have a delete button on that in case people get too
Beep.
crazy. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody again that showed up tonight. I want to thank the people in the listening audience for our show. And I'll sign out by saying the same thing I do every time. Keep your skates on the ice, reach for the stars, don't give up your dreams. Good night, everybody.
All right. Here, go Rams.
Yeah, I gotta get it to the rink. I gotta practice the bantams.
I got practice.
KXVS 92.1 FM, The Voice of Stockton.
From now, hands in hand, we figured out that home is where we are. Tear down these walls, I don't need a house, I need you. In 20 years from now, I don't need the American dream.